I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And in fact, today there's a lot of light in the sky, because if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Breaking Free. And that is because there is a solar eclipse occurring right now at 27 degrees of Aquarius. And Aquarius is a fixed air sign, and yes, it rules the future, but it also rules freedom. And this was a very well placed solar eclipse, and that is because the planets were so strong in Aquarius, and that is because the sun and the moon are at 27 degrees of Aquarius, and they are being conjuncted by Mercury, the planet of the mind, at 25 degrees of Aquarius. So these three planets are all in almost perfect alignment. And the ruler of the sign, Uranus, is in Aries, right ahead of the solar eclipse, and it too is at 25 degrees of Aries. It's in perfect alignment with these planets as well. And it's always good when the ruler of the sign is supporting the sign too. So this can be a time in your life when you certainly can have an accent on the future. In other words, you can be thinking about a future hope or wish, or a future plan, or a project, or something that is involving a goal of yours that's really important, because Aquarius does rule the future, but it also rules a lot of other things. Because it's an air sign, it rules anything going through the air. So it rules space, and it rules aviation, but it also rules electricity and computers and the internet and the whole telecommunications field. And it also rules invention, because remember, Aquarius is a fixed sign. And those inventors like to get a great new idea that's ahead of its time, and then they like to tinker with it until it finally works. And that takes a lot of perseverance, which is good. And so Aquarius also rules freedom, because it rules people who can be a little bit eccentric or ahead of their time, and they don't like to take directions from others because they like to do their own thinking. They're sort of independent, original thinkers, which is great. And Aquarius also rules rebellion. So these people do not like to be held down or held back. And so what we have today is that a rare thing is happening. Of the 10 planets that are up in the heavens, they are all in only 1/2 of your chart. They are only in 6 consecutive signs, and there are 12 signs or constellations. And so 1/2 of your life has a lot going on in it. It can be very concentrated with activity or concerns. But the other half of your life can have nothing going on. Maybe that is really stagnant right now, because 1/2 of your chart doesn't have any planets in it. And so as we are looking at these 10 planets crowded into only 6 signs, we see something that we really need to be aware of, and it is that of the 10 planets, the 3 that are in Aquarius under this solar new moon, which is an eclipse, are right in the center of the 10. So we have the sun, the new moon, and Mercury in Aquarius. And ahead of them are 3 other wonderful planets that are all sextiling this solar eclipse. And that is because today Venus and Neptune are in Pisces, and they are very closely conjuncting each other, which compounds their power as well. And ahead of them is that Uranus, which is in Aries, the sign of new beginnings. So these planets, 6 in total, are all accenting the future very favorably, and that can be what's making you want to break free. But there are 10 planets, and behind these planets that are sort of caught in the crosshairs under this solar eclipse are 4 other planets, and they can have the opposite effect. In other words, they can be holding you back, and they can be holding you down as well, or burdening you in some way, because their accent isn't on the future, it's on the past. And that is because there is Mars in Sagittarius, And that can be harmful because Mars is a planet that rules war, and it also rules greed, jealousy, hate, and envy. And it's in an impulsive fire sign. And then Saturn is in Capricorn, and it's very strong because it rules that sign, and Pluto is there as well. So these planets may be wanting to pull you back to the past or keep you under their thumb in some way. And then the fourth planet behind the solar eclipse is Jupiter, which is in Scorpio, and it is a fixed financial sign, and it is squaring the Sun, New Moon, and Mercury in Aquarius. And so two problems can be existing now under this fabulous solar eclipse. And it is simply that with these 4 planets behind the eclipse, it can be that you have to watch out for somebody or an organization that can be wanting to make a stealthy advance behind the scenes in order to cause you harm or cause somebody else harm, and they could do it by making a swift or sudden change or attack. And also, this is a time when you might be, since Jupiter is squaring the planets in Aquarius, you might be a little bit over-optimistic about the availability of financial resources. You might be counting on them a little bit too much, and they may not all be there when you need them. And so you need to watch out for that as well. So what this actually means is that the future is here, and that's what this solar eclipse is emphasizing so positively. But at the same time, the past will simply not let you go. So you have to deal with that as well. And so the question you can ask yourself is, how far and how fast can you go and to obtain your goal or your dream or your wish with carrying a heavy burden or a weighty burden on your shoulders? Because it can be that there are people who will now stop at absolutely nothing to maintain their tight grip upon you or others. And that's because they've had a tight grip on somebody or something for a very long time, and they want to ensure that they keep their power. So they are willing to do anything and justify any means to maintain their tight grip on something. And that is dangerous. And that is what we all really have to be aware of. So don't presume that everyone is your best friend right now, because remember, I'm saying they could make a stealthy advance. But that's because they want to keep that tight grip on something, and they'll do anything at all to do that. And so it's rather lucky for all of us that Jupiter is in Scorpio, because Scorpio just isn't a fixed financial sign. It also rules justice, and it is beautifully trining that Venus and Neptune in Pisces today. And so that simply means that justice can be done quietly behind the scenes. And when that happens, it will favor the future, not the past. And so sooner or later, you really are going to be able to zoom into your future. It's just that you're going to have to take some problems from the past with you. And they'll be there until you get them resolved. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries. It simply means that you are under very good aspects right now. Excuse me. I have a little tickle in my throat. And Aries, the reason why you're under such good aspects is because Uranus in your sign is really being well fortified. Remember, the Sun, the New Moon, and Mercury in Aquarius are trining Uranus in your sign. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Your sign rules new beginnings, and that simply means that you are on your way to a new beginning right now. And I think you have two choices, Aries. Because Mars in Sagittarius is also trining that Uranus, and they are both malefic planets, You could choose to move too quickly, and you probably would be doing that at the instance of people who are rather stealthy and have a malicious intent. So you shouldn't listen to everybody, particularly not people that are trying to push your buttons, Aries, because on the other hand, remember I said this solar eclipse is all about the future, and the future is here. And so it can be that you are looking at a much better future. And one of the reasons why, Aries, is because you have Venus and Neptune, two very loving planets when they're conjuncting each other, in Pisces right behind your sun sign. Pisces rules escape. And so, Aries, I think that you're going to have some sort of lucky escape from something. It may be something that is going on just behind the scenes. But I think you are going to have a lucky escape or a lucky settlement of some sort. Could even be a legal settlement, but it could bring you some relief. It may not be that everyone sees that, but it certainly could make you happy. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when I think that you have to be wary of a lot of things. Remember, this solar eclipse is caught right in the crosshairs or in the middle of these 10 planets that are crowded into only 6 signs. And so there are 4 planets in fixed signs in harsh aspect to your sun, Taurus. That can be pretty heavy duty for you because the sun, new moon, and Mercury in Aquarius are squaring your sun, and Jupiter in Scorpio is opposing your sun. And so I think that you are going to be confronted with a couple of problems now. One of them could be that you might have been a little too over-optimistic about financial resources that you think are coming your way. Or maybe they're not all coming now, or maybe they're not quite as big as you thought they would be. So I think you've got some financial problems that you didn't anticipate that are now confronting you, and you'll have to face them because they're rather challenging. The other thing is, if the future is calling you, it's not the future you envision, Taurus, and that is because these 3 wonderful planets in Aquarius are squaring your sun. And that's a pretty heavy-duty challenge to you because they're all conjuncting each other. They're very powerful. And so whatever plans you had for your future, Taurus, I hope you are willing to amend them or change them or modify them in some way, because I think you're really going to have to do that. And if I were you, I would just aim a little lower and take a little longer to reach your goal, because it's going to take a while before that happens. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, the future is certainly calling you. And the reason why is that the sun, new moon, and your ruler, Mercury, Gemini, are all conjuncting each other under the solar eclipse in Aquarius today. So certainly the future is headed your way. And I'm sure you're open to any suggestion that is making you focus on tomorrow instead of yesterday. And that is because there can be some problems. And there can be some enemies around, stealthy ones, who have a tight grip on something and they want to keep it that way. And they could be after you a little bit, Gemini, and that is because Mars in Sagittarius is opposing your sun sign. But the weight and the goodness of all of these planets in Aquarius, plus the ones that are in front of them, in other words, Uranus in Aries is sextiling your sun. That is favorable for sudden new opportunities or new beginnings that could occur that would delight you. And then the 3 planets in Aquarius are trining your sun. It's just that you need to watch out for people from the past. These would be people that have been around for a while, who are used to maintaining a tight grip on some sort of power, and they may see you as a threat, Gemini, and therefore they could try to get you out of the way. And that's why you really need to keep your guard up and be very, very cautious right now, and certainly stay away from anybody that you have even a hint could be malicious or vindictive or greedy or jealous. And you should particularly watch out for the possibility of fire or some sort of sudden crash that could happen. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when the future is calling, yes, But, you know, your sign is a sign that would rather be home with family and friends, and you would rather be nurturing others that you love. That is the nature of your sign. And so this is a time when people who want to zoom toward the future will certainly want to do that. And it might be that you have some future projects in mind, but I don't think that you're actually thinking of breaking free of something. Maybe you just plain don't have to. And that could be because Jupiter in Scorpio is trining your sun, and so are Venus and Neptune in Pisces right now. And you could be rather happy with your current situation in a very quiet and nice way, Cancer. So I don't think that you're feeling rebellious or anything else. You can be knocked over by the fact that Uranus in Aries is being squared harshly by Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and they are opposing your sun sign as well. So if there is some a high bar that people, or high expectations that people have to meet, and they don't want to do that and they want to rebel, that could throw you off a little bit, but not very much. And so this is a time when you can be rather happy behind the scenes. You can be happy with the fact that there could be more money coming your way, and when justice is done, it's going to do you a lot of good, Cancer. So I don't think you really have too much to worry about except the unexpected, and that's why you too should sort of play it safe this week. But I don't think there's any real danger that's going to be too close to you. Just sit back and enjoy the things that make you happy, and they would be quiet things at home. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you really have to be careful. And the reason why is that you have two wonderful planets in the fire signs that are actually malefic planets, Uranus in Aries and Mars in Sagittarius, which are trining your sun. So at the urging of people who could perhaps have malicious intent or just want to have things their way and not consider other people, you could respond to that and make a quick move that would really be to your serious detriment. So don't do that, Leo. And the reason why you have to be cautious is that solar eclipse today with 3 planets in Aquarius was opposing, or is opposing, your sun sign. And that means that the future is on somebody else's shoulders, that there is somebody else that wants to break free and live their own life their way, and yet they can perhaps feel held back or controlled by you, and that isn't what they want anymore. So it might be magnanimous of you to grant someone else their freedom right now, Leo, and sort of make the grand gesture. That would be a good idea, because you have troubles of your own, and they are financial, because Jupiter in Scorpio is squaring your sun. So just like Taurus, whatever you're envisioning for your future plans are going to turn out a little differently than you think, Leo. And so I think that you, just like Taurus, need to downsize a little bit, or you need to scale back your expectations, because the future isn't going to be the way you had planned it previously. And so I hope you get used to modifying your plans in one way, because I think you'll need to do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time of extreme danger for you. And the reason why is that there can be people who can be wanting to make a stealthy advance in order to make a sudden attack behind the scenes. It might be on you, or it might be around your work area or in your life somewhere. And that's because Mars in Sagittarius is squaring your sun. And it is up to no good. And it represents something from the past, or someone from the past, that wants to maintain a tight grip on you, Virgo. And so you need to really keep your guard up. You need to be very cautious. If other people seem to be angry or belligerent in some way, you need to get away from them, because they could make you a target, Virgo. So this is not a good time for you to stand out too much. And so my advice to you this week is to just go home and close the door, Virgo, and not comment on anything either. Just be as quiet as you can this week and hope that the danger passes. But in the meantime, keep your guard up. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when certainly the future is calling you. Congratulations. And that is because the sun, new moon, and Mercury in Aquarius are all trining your sun sign, and that is wonderful for you. And ahead of them, remember, are good planets that are sextiling this eclipse. One of them is your own ruler, because Venus is conjuncting Neptune in Pisces right ahead of the solar eclipse, and then Uranus in Aries is also supporting it. So even though Uranus is opposing your sun sign, by itself it is under very good aspects right now, and that means it can't be too much harm to you, Libra. So this is certainly a time for you to go forward. Remember, this solar eclipse represents that the future is here, that a new beginning is possible. But at the same time, it represents people who can be malicious, who want to maintain a tight grip on others, or it can be that others, people, even including you, Libra, can be a little over-optimistic about how many financial resources are available at the moment. But I would say you're going to get a chance to move forward, or you should be listening to others, people's plans about moving forward, and I hope that you can be supporting them, because it's going to do you a lot of good too, Libra. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is certainly a time for you to be extra cautious. And the reason why is the solar eclipse today, with the sun, new moon, and Mercury in Aquarius, we're all squaring your sun where you have Jupiter. It might be you, Scorpio, that is a little over-optimistic about how many financial resources will be available for some future project that you have in mind. And so I urge you to be very cautious instead. At the same time, it's really fortunate that Jupiter in your sign is trining both Venus and Neptune in Pisces. Because if you're on the side of the angels and you want to help see that justice is done quietly behind the scenes, it will benefit you as well, Scorpio. So I hope you can be a helping hand to others who want to see fairness, and they want to see things done in a way that is upright and good for everyone. And so I hope that's the direction you're going in, Scorpio, because Mars is in Sagittarius right ahead of your sun sign. If you wanted to get in trouble right now, the temptation could be there, but I urge you not to succumb to it. Instead, try to be at your very best. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, Mars is in your sign, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are right ahead of your sign. And so that simply means that behind this fabulous solar eclipse that we're having today are planets, one in your sign, particularly Mars, which represent people who can want to keep a tight grip on their own power, and they represent people from the past that could be trying to hold others back. I hope that's not you, Sagittarius, but at the same time, I don't think that you can count on having very trustworthy people around you. And also, I think your relationships are not running too smoothly right now, because Venus and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your sun sign. So this is a time when you have to step back and test people first. And ask yourself this question, Sagittarius: how badly do you want to live in the past? This solar eclipse is all about the future. And I think that is what you should be headed for instead, Sagittarius. And I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, certainly the future is calling you. After all, that solar eclipse is right ahead of your sun sign today. And so there are very good planets, actually 6 of them, all ahead of your sun sign. The 3 in Aquarius, then Venus and Neptune in Pisces, and then Uranus and Aries ahead of that. The only one you have to worry about is that Uranus is squaring your sun sign right now, where you have Saturn and Pluto. But I would say that you should prepare for something that is rather unexpected but very pleasant, Capricorn. And it could be something that you had been desiring, and it could suddenly become available. And that might catch you by surprise, but as I said, you would be very pleased by that. And that might mean that behind the scenes, people or conditions from the past could be sort of holding you back, and you really have to let those go, Capricorn, because the future is going to be so much better for you. That's the direction you need to look in, and you need to look straight for tomorrow, because you're going to be happier. All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, congratulations. The solar eclipse is in your sun sign, and it is a great one. But you have to remember, the sun and new moon today are at 27 degrees. 27 is a number, 2 plus 7, that equals 9. And 9 is a finishing number. There's something in your life, Aquarius, that needs to be wound up or finished. And it could involve something that has to do with communication, since Mercury is also conjuncting the sun and the moon in your sign. There are so many good planets ahead of your sun sign right now. In fact, there are 6 that are all emphasizing the future. And that is definitely the direction that you need to be looking in, Aquarius, and a new beginning is possible. But the question remains for everyone, including you, how far can you go and how quickly can you achieve a goal when you are going to be carrying some burden from the past that still needs to be resolved. And there can be danger behind the scenes for everyone now, so you have to be aware of that too, Aquarius. But I would say prepare for a surprise. It could happen at any time, and I think you'd love it. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that you can sort of be in love with everything. And the reason why is that Venus has entered your sign, and now Venus and Neptune, your own ruler, are conjuncting in your sign. And you know, there is something behind the scenes in your life, Pisces, that does represent a new beginning. And that is because the sun, new moon, and Mercury today in Aquarius were right behind your sun sign. So there's a lot of light in the background of your life, Pisces, and that means other people can see that you can be concentrating on something new. And it represents a better tomorrow for you, and that is definitely the way you need to go, Pisces, because Mars is in Sagittarius, harshly squaring your sun, and it is up to no good. And that means that you must not be tempted by people that want you to do things wrong or that want you to shortcut a process, because you really need to go through, and as you're going forward, you still need to finish up something from the past and sort of complete it or make it right. But you can do that, Pisces. So there can be a delightful surprise ahead of you, but I would say that you need to be wary of others who can represent danger to you right now. And that's why you too need to keep your guard up. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and you can read our blog and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.